Welcome to another episode of How to WaterFedPolePerfect.com. And what I'm going to be showing you today is my van mounted water-fed pole system, what I use on a daily basis. And really, I suppose the important parts of this video is the parts that you'll need, of course, for the pole system, what things to buy, how much things like that might cost, and then once you've got it, the importance of putting it in your van, but not just throwing it in a van, but having a system so that you can be proficient, so that you can just whip it in, whip it out, and have a really good system for doing your work. So I suppose you don't need the biggest van in the world. I did use a trailer for a time with the system in it, and trailers, unless it's a proper sealed over trailer, they really don't work. You could do it if you had a roof trailer, a box trailer that was completely purposed for that, but if not, trust me, you're going to be messing, you're going to be frustrated by things getting caught, things moving around in the trailer. It's really not going to work. The same if you try and do it out of a car. You're going to try and get it in and out, and things are going to get wet. A hose might split, or a nozzle will turn on and it'll drench something. You'll be frustrated trying to get water containers in and out. Trust me, it really doesn't work. I've been there, done that, and the only real way to have it is in a van mount. Now, you don't need even the biggest van in the world. I'll show you my setup now in a second, and you don't need the biggest setup or biggest van to be able to do it, but having a van for it is so much easier. Everything can have its place, and trust me, it'll pay back dividends in the end. You can do sign writing and things like that on it as well, which is great for advertising, great for new business. So this is my van mount, and this is part and parcel of what you might need as well, should you need to get it. And if you do get it, kit your van out like this. Now, I got my system from SureCleanSystems.com. I found them excellent to deal with. They will deliver a system for free, but you know what? I prefer to go up, have a look at the system, touch it, feel it, what would fit in my van, what wouldn't fit my van. Oh, do you know what? Instead of that, I'm going to get this, just to put your hand on everything. Now, I suppose if you look up the basics of how to water-fed pole, you'll understand the need for the purest of the pure water of 0 parts per million water. And that goes into what kind of system you buy. You see, look at my video for if you need reverse osmosis, or if you just want to use a resin. That really comes up to you at the end of the day, and what kind of water you're using to start with. But for me in the van, I pump in water. I actually pump in harvested rainwater that comes in at 10, 15, 20 TDS. So it's fairly pure already, and then I use a resin to clean it up or to polish it off to 0 parts per million when I am done. But enough talking and more showing. So this is my van mount that I have here. So of course there is the big tank. Now that tank is a 350 litre tank. Now I have never used a complete tank in the day. You might see online people saying, no, you need a 1,000 litre container, a 600 litre container. I've done really long days, and I have never had need for more than that 350 litres. As you can see, there's baffles on it there to stop too much glugging, even though there is a bit of glugging going on. Now, as you might see here on the side of my van, I have the controller. Now, these wires go through into the battery of the van, so it's charged up, and in here, as you can see, by pressing it, that's the PSI. Also tells you the battery level. I'll just turn that off, and inside here is the pump, the battery, and this controller box. And SureClean Systems put all of this into a handy tray that all it's done is screwed on to the side of the van. Very easy, no trouble whatsoever. Very easy, 4 screws into the panel of the van. There it is. Nice and tidy out the way. If you have it like that, nice and tidy out the way, you're not going to bash it. Nothing's going to drop on it and break it. It's a nice safe place. So all I do when I pull up to a job, open the back of the van, straight in, turn on the pump is on. Now I suppose my pole here, as you can see, it's a Gardner CLX 27. Now that might not be the standard pole that would come with a beginner's kit. I suppose this would be classed as a beginner's kit. It's extra long, it's a carbon hybrid. It's really rigid, really good for going up height. I can do 3-story work with it. Spend the extra few pound on getting the extra length and a little bit of an upgrade on the pole. Trust me, the Gardner pole, and I'll do a whole episode on the Gardner pole. The Gardner pole is absolutely fantastic. I've used fiberglass ones before, and it's like a fishing rod when you're up high, whereas that Gardner pole is the bee's knees. And as you can see there, it goes back into the back of my van, goes over another hook. So again, when I pull up for a job, on with a controller, lift the pole off and walk out. It's really that simple, and that's what it should be. It shouldn't be trying to get loads of stuff under it. Literally in 5 seconds I can have the pole out of the van and walking away with the reel. So I suppose the next thing is this controller box is fed by this hose that goes all the way into the back of this water tank. So the water tank feeds this. So all it is one hose coming from the bottom of this tank, which Shore Clean Systems had a fitting on the end of it, so it's only a matter of connecting a hose. I actually have I have a connection here you don't have. You could have a straight line. I have a connection. If I'm filling it and I want to use this pump for filling as well, I can disconnect and just run another line. So what happens then? Well, the water goes pumped through here, comes out there and goes into my resin there. And now a resin, that it's 11 litre container of resin that came as part of the kit. And now what happens is that resin will take water from its 20 parts per million, 15 parts per million, whatever my water source is at home, or whatever you're given it, and it'll bring it down to 0 parts per million, which you can watch in the episode of where I test with the TDS meter. So that is my resin, if you can see it there. A grand little, again, that's the one that comes from the pump. That's the it goes through the resin and out and straight into that hose, which then goes into that reel. And then what happens is that reel, that hose goes into here, into my micro bore cable, and now it's on a cable reel. To be honest, I haven't found it fantastic. It's been a bit frustrating sometimes. I would instead, next time round, if I was you, upgrade from this. Now these are metal, that is metal, but there's a better one on the market. It's bigger, but it's far more robust, and it's got higher sides so that it doesn't roll over, because sometimes when you're rolling it can come over. Again, that end clicks on to the end of my pole, and on my pole, instead of the Vari-Stream, I decided to go for a trigger, which is economical with water, but also for another practical level. And why you should go and pick it out by hand is because if I put a device which is the Vari-Stream, it's a click on click off instead of a trigger, which would be handy for some jobs, is it wouldn't actually fit in my van. It extends the pole by another foot and it wouldn't fit. So this is normally connected to the end of the pole system. So when I get to a job, open the doors of the van, on, lift off, that's already connected, and walk away. It's as simple as that. And when I'm done, walk straight back onto the van, turn the controller off, pole back on, and just reel away. And that's all there is to it. I could put all this in and out quicker than I would have before getting ladders in and off at the top. But you can see the advantage of having the setup like that. Again, it's not the biggest van in the world, but it's a easy setup, and on top there I have a little pop-up crate, and also my warning triangle for sticking that out when I'm at jobs. So that's my setup. So a lot of places will do a starter pack, and the starter pack, you can buy bits and pieces individually, but there's really not that much cost difference in going to a place. SureClean Systems, I think £820 sterling is what you can get the starter pack. Now I paid more because I got the longer gardener pole, the better pole. Now for all of that, including the fittings and everything, I think it came to about, and a bottle full of resin came to about £1,200, including the tank, including the warning sign. So £1,200 is what that came to. Now again, like as I say, you can get it a little bit cheaper if you were to shop around, but you won't get the advantage of SureClean Systems doing up a nice and tidy little box. You'll get a controller separate, then you'll get the pump, and I've seen people and they've had the pump rolling around the van, and it's just been an absolute nightmare. So that's if you're installing it into the van yourself. That's a neat little way of doing it. The water tank that runs a single hose to feed your controller, pump and battery all in the one system, that then has a single hose to the resin, single hose then to the reel, clamps onto your pole and away. So that's how much my system cost. That's the whole works. And again, if you're getting it, have a look at what different providers give you. Worth upgrading to a better pole. I'll do a whole thing on I'll show you the pole on another video. But if you can have a system like that, that'll really work out for the best. And again, I would say go with a control box if you can. Tidies things up so much. And if you can, try and get a van for it, because it'll save you every day of the week in comparison to a car or a trailer. So that's my hints and tips for a van fit out for this week and the system that I have. Any questions, leave it at the bottom of the videos or on the website. I appreciate any questions or comments. So leave it with me. Check out my website, howtowaterfedpoleperfect.com, for up and coming videos. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll chat to you next time.